Are you ready for the Pats Nation? The only real deal Patriots postgame show. And now, CORSO CATONE.
Welcome into the Pats Nation, the only Patriots post-game show worth watching. Chris Corso alongside Mark Catone. Joe Guarnieri will be jumping in, and we are presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. Week 16 sees the Patriots drop to the Buffalo Bills at home, 31-21, and not only drop that, drop the lead in the AFC East to the number 33-21.
You're
And they
so
dropped
aggravated,
the lead.
you don't even remember.
You know
the
what? I don't
score.
want to hear it anymore. And they dropped to the number 6 spot, Mark.
Yeah, Chris, they're going to keep dropping because I got a feeling they're going to lose to Miami too.
Well, you know what? Listen, we're on. You catch us live on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. We're also live to listen to on Podbean, so make sure you check us out there and on Twitter at Corso_Catone. Hey, we're going to have MAC-MANIA, our Coach's Corner, and Sunday Stiff all coming up. Mark, let's hear it. What do you got?
Chris, today was a horrible, horrible performance all the way around. I think the defense was absolutely they looked awful. They showed all of their weaknesses showed up today. So people can say whatever they want. This defense is not a very good defense. The linebackers are horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And the offense we've talked about all year, Chris, has liabilities because you don't have any skilled players. You have no receivers. I mean, you've done what you've done. You're lucky you got 9 wins at this point. They played a stretch of games, Chris, where they played some bad teams, so they put together a streak. And I think they fooled us. They fooled everybody, right? Because today, Chris, they looked awful, absolutely awful.
They allowed 428 yards of total offense. Mark, 380 of those yards was Josh Allen in a mixture of passing and throwing the ball, and passing yards and running the ball. So,
but Chris, it wasn't even. They gave up 420 yards, but it was easy. Like what they were doing was easy. Like
they scored on every drive.
Yeah,
they didn't punt.
Did they even punt?
They didn't punt. And that's all you need to know. And so we're going to get into a lot of that on defense. We're going to talk about some of the offense, but right now, let's get into MAC-MANIA. Joe, let's hear it.
MAC-MANIA!
14 of 32, 145 yards, two interceptions. One was that last play of the game where it was basically a Hail Mary. So basically one interception, which was not a good throw by him at all. And I mean, it was tipped, but it still shouldn't have been thrown there. And Mark, would you say this was his worst game?
Yeah, it was. He didn't play well at all today, Chris. Listen, they brought pressure all day long. They blitzed him all day long. And they put pressure on him. And it was this. I think this was his worst game of the season. He looked like a rookie today. And don't get me wrong, the fact that you've got nobody to help you out that can make a play doesn't help when you're struggling. When you're struggling, you need somebody to turn a 5 or 6 yard slant into a 30-yard catch or a touchdown. He doesn't have that on this team. But yeah, this was his worst game as a rookie, Chris. He made some poor decisions today, and he looked like a rookie today. He didn't look good at all. I didn't think he looked good at all today.
I agree. I mean, I'll tell you what he did okay. He did well was, he got out when he needed to run the ball. He ran the ball for 33 yards off 6 attempts. And when he needed to get out, he did that because, honestly, he was running for his friggin' life for most of this game, in my opinion.
The offensive line regressed today, Chris.
I'm not giving him a pass by any stretch of the imagination because he threw into doubles. He threw into double coverage all day. Now I get exactly what you're saying, and I get what you're saying. The fact that he's throwing into that was that one down the center of the seam there to N'Keal Harry in double coverage was his third read. Okay, first of all, you should never throw the ball to N'Keal Harry to begin with. That's it. And can we just say this one final time? Because we can't keep listing this guy as our Sunday Stiff. He sucks. Let's just that's it.
Yeah, Chris, listen, and this is my thing, and I said this to you during the game. I forget he's a first-round draft pick. I get it. I'm not even going to talk about where he was drafted. Forget all that. He stinks. He's not a football player. at the NFL level. Shouldn't be on an NFL roster. Let's just stop talking about him. He stinks. Shouldn't be on a roster. The fact that you're still using him is a pretty good. This explains pretty well why you struggle, because he's actually on the field. How bad are your receivers if he's on the field?
Absolutely. So yeah, Mac Jones, bad game. Not a good game.
No, bad game.
You know, he didn't lose the game for them. Because I think ultimately the offense, you know, the offense isn't the worst part of today. Okay. It's not by far the worst part of today. No. And I thought Mac Jones, but again, it wasn't atrocious, but it wasn't a very good game. He threw at the doubles a lot. And I get it. He didn't have the help. You know, Hunter Henry was invisible. I thought he had him on a few plays. And I'll tell you what else, Mark. The game management for him, this is the first time that I can say in 16 weeks of him playing, and maybe that's a good thing because he's a rookie, and maybe we should be complimenting on this, but this is the first time where I saw him not be able to control those guys on that offense. Mark, what happened on that ridiculous before the half debacle with the officials, where he goes out of bounds, he gets hit late.
That was a personal. That should have been 15 yards, Chris. I don't care.
Well, it was. They threw the flag and then picked it up. Are you kidding me?
But why? Because the guy tried to hold him up?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You hit him. You hit him.
Not only that, but this is the problem I have with Mac Jones, Mark. You tell me if you noticed this. So obviously the players on this team are stupid and undisciplined, which I put directly on friggin' Belichick.
By the way, that's the coaching. By the way, by the way.
Absolutely. And you know what? So here you got this moron, Brown, the right tackle, John to the other side, Look, they've gotten the memo on this. They understand you can't do that anymore. You can't talk into their face anymore and say shit. But there he was doing that. And where I put it on Mac Jones, get your team back in the huddle. Get them because, Mark, one of the biggest problems I had with that entire sequence was, and I know I'm going on, but the entire sequence there, why did the officials stop the play there? They picked up the flag. They made the call. The New England breaks the huddle, comes to the line of scrimmage. Then all of a sudden, and I think Belichick was yelling about this on the sideline.
Well, Chris, were they questioning where they spotted the ball?
I don't know what they were doing because none of the officials were really moving around, doing anything. Yeah. Meanwhile, you got the offense standing up on the line of scrimmage, standing there waiting, and they're jawing back and forth. You know who would have taken that team, pulled them back into the huddle again, saw the crap, the chippiness that was going on. Now, again, he's a rookie. But you got to get command of your team because they're too stupid to do it themselves, right? So that's one of the things I have on hand. But, yeah, not a good day. Not a good day for him, Mark.
No, not at all. I agree, Chris. It wasn't a good day. And part of the reason why, Chris, I think it was the first game where, as you said, he didn't necessarily have control of the game. The huddle didn't. I think part of that, Chris, is this was the second straight week. If you jump up on this team by 7-10 points, they absolutely are not built to play that type of football. No. They have to be in the lead, or it's going to be a field goal game where you can control the clock, try to run the ball, do some short passing, different things. This team goes down 10 points, the game's, but you're basically finished. This team's done. Stick a fork in them because their offense, their receivers, their skill position players are horrible. They're horrible.
And that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking down. I'm looking at some of these stats right now. And so, again, I mean, that he wasn't the worst part of the day. We're going to get to the next parts right now. But MAC-MANIA was brought to us and presented by Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance.
Chris, what would you give him for a grade today?
D plus.
I was going to say
C
that.
minus.
You know what, Chris? I won't give him an F because I don't think he lost you the game. We're going to get into who lost us the game, but I definitely would give him a D, Chris. I'd give him a D too.
Yeah, I would even maybe C minus. D plus, but it sucked. Yeah. I mean, D, C, it's terrible. My kids come home with a C. I kick them out and make them sit outside and take all their Christmas gifts away. So. That was brought to us by Special Sauce Podcast. Startup, finance, and drive yourself to success. SpecialSaucePodcast.com. And Mark, before we continue to yell and get miserable and irritated, Merry Christmas, boys.
Yeah. How was, for those of you that's Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you may celebrate.
Merry Christmas, Ebenezer.
Yeah.
How was your? Because the people out there, they rather hear What'd you get, Mark? What'd Santa bring you? Did you get anything? Did you get anything? Well, did you get anything first of all? Because I know you haven't been good.
I got a driving manual.
Because we get off that now, will you please? Yeah. Nothing noteworthy.
No, just Chris. When you get to our age, what are we getting that's noteworthy, right? I got typical stuff, clothes, this, that, all kind of nonsense, right? Nothing to say.
Yeah. How about you, Joe?
You know what? The same thing with Mark, but you know when you give a gift and a couple of years later, and then you finally get one back because you gave it knowing you wanted one. They got one of those atomic beam lights. Oh my God, the thing lightens up. You know, it's like daylight in your hand.
Wow.
Those atomic beams. You ever see it? You know, they got atomic everything now. That's like sunglasses, visors. Oh, we can't even hear you, Christopher.
Okay. What's the atomic? Like, what's the...
I don't know what it's...
What does that mean? Does it blow up or something?
Like military grade. They have all these different...
those tack lights?
TV. What do you mean? You don't know. You've seen everything. Those as seen on TV.
Yeah, listen. You're up all hours of the night ordering stuff off TV.
Yeah, hold on. You talking about the tack lights? Those tack lights, those military, the ones that go bloop, 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 the strobes, where that horrible commercial where that guy's walking and he puts his arms up like this, and runs away from stealing things out of the car. That's pretty funny. What I got for me, I have to tell you and I have to show you. Here's why we are the real deal New England field, right? Aren't we, Joe? Mark?
Of course we are.
The real deal.
Okay. My boys, got me 2 books. Okay. This is what they are. Dad, I wrote a book about you, right? And inside you fill in, the stuff. This is what he writes. You make me laugh when talk back and forth with Uncle Mark at the TV yelling at the Patriots. Okay? That's the first thing he writes. Next thing he writes, the funniest thing you do.
Yell at the TV.
Yell at the TV. Okay? The other one said almost identical. He said, I won't show up, but there you go. That's why we're the real deal New England field, because all we do is bust beans all game long. Those are my two.
When I told my son and daughter and wife what you got yesterday, because you had sent me the picture, my son says to me, well, it's true. Like, what you think the TV is going to talk back to you or something? He said, you think they're going to listen to you and change the formation? He said, they never listen to you. I'm like, yeah, I know. Well, what do you want from me?
So 33-21, Patriots dropped to Buffalo. So Mark, some of the other things, and we might as well just stick to the we can go all over the place. I don't care, but
we'll stick with offense.
Listen, the offensive line. I thought they had a bad day. Now I say that, okay, and let's see. They rushed for 150 yards today. Now 33 of that was Mac Jones running for his life, and 103. I mean, Harris will probably beat our Sunday seat this week. I mean, no. He ran 18 carries, 103 yards, 5.5 a carry.
Considering he just came back from an injury, he had 2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah. Yep. He had 2 touchdowns.
He had a good game, Chris. And they weren't going to overuse him because of the hamstring, obviously, right?
Well, you had to.
They weren't going to run. They weren't going to run him more than what they ran him because they refused to put J.J. Taylor on the field.
Yeah, Mark, what's the story with that? Why can't they play him?
I don't know.
If nothing else, even in the return game, I mean, Gunnar looks like
crap
Chris,
I understand,
in the kick return game.
You and I have theorized that maybe they don't put him on the field because he's small.
Because every damn rookie
but also may struggle with blitz pickup, right? Because he's so small. But there were design plays today, Chris, where there was no blitz pickup. The play was to throw the ball, chip down, throw the ball out of the backfield to Bolden. So why wouldn't you put J.J. Taylor in the run a couple of those? Because he can run away from somebody. Bolden, listen, he's had a good season, but he's not running away from anybody, Chris.
And Mark, the edges were open all day.
Yes.
Buffalo was giving up that edge.
That was a perfect spot for Taylor today. As a change
you
of
saw it a
back.
couple of times. Mac Jones, kind of running a little option where he pitched it out to Harris a couple of times, and it was wide open running. And I don't think they did that enough.
No, they didn't.
You know, they had 9. I was counting them up with you on the phone. 9 guys in the box at times. 8, 9. Pulling corners
Well,
in.
Chris, after that Monday night game, you knew they weren't going to allow them to gash them.
No, they weren't going to allow them go tackle to tackle.
Nope.
And they got they had some success, some long runs doing that. Harris did, but when they got to the edge, when they decided they wanted to get to the edge, yeah, I agree. J.J. Taylor would have had a lot more explosiveness than Bolden was showing, right? So, you know,
very disappointing that they don't give that kid more playing time. You know.
Yeah.
And
like
you said, Chris, he could be in the return game because I think Gunnar, the last 4 or 5 weeks, Chris, is really not done too much. Even in the return game, he hasn't done much.
And we have, you know, naturally we have to hit. This must be the person. This must be the guy or person that put up the friggin' billboard on Route 1. We got the fish typing in, commenting in, saying good game. Even Tommy's over there yelling on the stairs, you know, singing that Christmas song. Good game, he says, from a Bills fan. So, Mark,
hey,
we can't.
Listen, I give them credit. Thank you for
the chat in. We appreciate it. But, Mark, we can't say anything to them. What are we going to say?
No, they played well today. They beat us. That's for damn sure.
You know, I mean,
I got a comment on just the fact that they're saying good game because I've been to Buffalo and they're not Patriot fans of any kind. Like they hate. I've never seen any single
the Bills Mafia Joe
hates the Patriots. You know,
Bills
I didn't want to tell anybody I was a Patriot fan.
Well, look, when you take a billboard out on Route 1, going up to the stadium, talking about the Bills and how great they are, Mark, I told you all season long they would lose this game to Buffalo.
Yeah, you've been saying that all year. You have.
Yeah. So from the running back spot, I thought Harris played well. I thought he ran well, but offensive line, Mark, they opened up some stuff running the ball. They did. I don't have a problem much with what they did, but their pass protection just sucks. It's you come down on Mac Jones all we want, but he's running around back there. He's moving around for his life. He can't step up and throw the ball. I mean, some of the good success he had was moving outside the pocket. And again, it's
and Chris, you know what? It's a disappointment because you and I thought going into the season that our offensive line would be one of our strengths, and it really isn't. Obviously, it isn't. It actually, there's been a lot of weeks where it's been our weakness.
Yeah, and I'm looking right now. I want to see how many. How many sacks they had? I know they got to him. I mean, let's see.
I don't know how many sacks they had, Chris, but they had quite a few pressures. I know that
they only had 1 sack, but
they had quite a few pressures, knocked down.
They were all over him. He squiggled out. He moved out and did some different things.
To your point, Chris, he did a good job of running with the ball and wiggling out of trouble, but that's because he was under pressure an awful lot today.
Yeah, he keeps texting. He keeps coming back in. We hate the Pats, but that was a crazy game. Got to have respect. Yeah, listen, we're not. Look, we're not downing. We're not downing. In fact, when we get to our defense, I don't know what this guy's name is, but the fish. When we get to our defense, I'm going to tell you flat out that all the experts, everybody was talking about Josh Allen, that he doesn't have it. He's no good. He'll show his true colors at some point. Yeah, he showed his true colors today, man. He slapped this team around. Wait a minute. He was 280 yards.
Wait a minute.
He was 380 yards out of 420.
Okay, good.
That was him.
That's good. That was him. That was absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something. Look at me like I'm crazy. I'm going to tell you something. If goddamn J.C. Jackson makes a play, Josh Allen does what he always does. We got the ball with a chance to take the lead with 7 minutes to go in the game. But Jackson dropped the ball. Bye-bye. The game's over. It was right in his hands, Chris. So Josh Allen did Josh Allen things in the fourth quarter when the pressure was on. He gave us a gift, and we didn't take it.
Yeah, but they had some drops too. They didn't help him out a few times.
But my point is, it was the fourth quarter. Game was on the line. Pressure situation. Throws the ball.
That would have been a pick six too.
It might have been a pick.
There was nobody. There was nobody.
But that's what Allen typically does. And guess what? He did it for you again today. And J.C. Jackson couldn't make the play. He did it for you again today. Gave you the ball in a big situation, and you couldn't take advantage of it. So obviously they beat us. He played a good game. He did, but he still did what Josh Allen does that I've been talking about for 2 years. Yeah. And Jackson couldn't take advantage of it.
Well, I don't listen, and I don't like Josh Allen. I mean, I don't
think he's a championship
get up
quarterback.
With his muscles like
Chris,
that,
I don't think he's a championship quarterback. When the pressure's there, he makes the throws like he threw to Jackson.
Well,
in a playoff game, somebody's going to make that play, and his team's going to lose because
we saw that in the AFC Championship last year.
Yeah,
he completely
he'll
wet
do it
himself,
again, Chris. He'll do it again. He'll do it again.
But Mark, listen, when somebody accounts for 380 yards of your 420, of your 430.
No, I agree. He had a good game.
You got to tip the cap. I mean, what are you supposed to say?
I'll tip it. But
I mean, listen, in those design runs to the outside edge, and he flipped the ball underneath like Favre-esque, okay? You got to give him that. What are you going to say?
No, I'm giving it to him.
We have, you know what? You eat a lot of crap
eating it.
In life,
listen,
and we're eating it today.
Listen, I'm going to eat it. All I'm saying to you is, as good as he played, he still had his typical Josh Allen moment that we couldn't take advantage of. He always does. He always does, Chris, in a big game.
He missed 17, but he's 30 or 47.
No, Chris, he had a good game. He absolutely did. But until he can fix those Josh Allen moments in big games, today we didn't take advantage of it. I mean,
all right. Well, listen, we're not a Buffalo Bill postgame show, so
Chris, J.C. Jackson is supposed to be a number one corner looking for a huge
we're going to
contract.
talk about him in another segment.
You're going to make that play.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
let's
Mark, with the rest of the offense, the bottom line is the rest of the offense. Look, the offensive line, I told you, pisses me off. They didn't play well in pass blocking, but I'll tell you, the discipline, the undisciplined, how undisciplined is this damn offensive line again? They got a big gain, get it called back for holding. And that's Jonnu Smith. And in that situation, I put him as part of the offensive line, Mark.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Chris. After that holding penalty, you didn't see him on the field a lot the rest of the game.
$50 million.
$50 million, yeah.
And so you know what? And for Trent Brown to do that nonsense, don't even give the officials, don't even give them a friggin' chance to call something stupid on you like this taunting that they're doing all over the league now.
Yeah, but then in the fourth quarter in that late drive, David Andrews does the same thing on the 15-yard penalty
again.
Jones.
He makes it offsetting.
Yeah,
he makes it offsetting.
Same thing, stupidity.
Right, and this is a guy that got snubbed for the Pro Bowl. This is a Pro Bowl player that's been around forever, and you want to pull that crap? If you know who was in that huddle with him, okay, yeah,
Chris, listen.
He would have been all over his ass.
It's week 16, right? I'm kind of a little bit in shock that this team is still making those types of mistakes, Chris. Where is the coaching? Those are the things that Belichick supposedly his teams don't do. Well, it's week 16 and your team's still doing it in big games, sloppy, undisciplined, and so that's a real red flag on the coaching staff at this point in week 16.
Yeah. Yeah, and and listen, I can't get on the receivers other than we've already talked about the stiff. I can't get on the receivers because look, they just don't have the talent. They don't have it. Jacoby Myers catches a ball, and anybody else is going to the end zone on it. He gets kind of stuck in the mud and gets tackled. Good first down.
Chris, and you know what, Chris? I had just said that to you in the first half when he threw that little.
Did I say Jax? I said Myers. Jacoby Myers.
When he threw that pass to Harry. And I said to you, that should have been a first down. It ended up being like a 3rd and 2, and then we didn't make the 3rd down. I said, if on the 2nd down pass, if Harry had any sort of acceleration as soon as he caught it, that would have been a first down. No. But my point is, all their receivers are like that. Yeah, we beat up on him, but none of them have that, except Bourne, I think, has a little of that, Chris. But they couldn't get him involved in the game today.
Mark,
for whatever reason.
And this is going to be on defense, which we're going to get to right now. 51. They had 9 minutes left in the third quarter, about 8 minutes. They had 51 plays run to our 27.
Of course they did, Chris.
Okay. So, I mean, and that goes directly to the defense. So let's get into the defense, Mark. I don't know. Where do you want to start? Because first of all, they didn't punt. Okay. Let's just get that out.
Well, that's a major problem.
Buffalo didn't punt the
Chris,
ball.
That's a major problem.
And they scored on every drive. I don't know. Did they get
they
off the field on one fourth down?
They didn't score on every drive. I think 1 4th down. Didn't they down to the goal line? It was incomplete.
Yes. Well, that was a 2-point conversion.
That was 2 point. I don't know. Maybe it was a 2-point conversion.
No, because it was fourth
right.
down on the goal line, and they converted for that touchdown. Where, by the way, they rushed. Let's start with the defensive front, okay? You keep talking about this, that the interior, and I think you're right. The interior is not the huge problem in this game, with this team, right?
No. I don't think, not at all.
So, Mark, you know what? Go get to the problem. Let's get to the huge problem. Go ahead.
Your linebackers are so bad. Dante Hightower, you've been saying this every week. Why is he still on the field? He's on the field because who are you going to put out there? You don't have another body to put out there. You have nobody. That's a sad fact when you're going to put a guy out there who's way past his prime because you have nobody else that can go on the field. You got Jawan Bentley. You got Van Noy, who looks his age right now. Jamie Collins, they use him in spots. Who are you going to bring? Uche's a bum, stiff, another stiff draft pick. Winovich, stiff draft pick.
Perkins is on the bench.
From Oklahoma is on IR. Jennings, IR. So you're drafting, and everyone talks about, oh, what a great draft they had in the free agency. Okay, they filled in a few holes. They did. But Jesus Christ, Chris, over the last 3 to 4 years, the fact that your linebackers are so bad is because your drafts have been horrible. You've been unable to fill that unit with any youth and any young guys. I mean, Chris, Dante Hightower.
Well, they don't move on from anybody. Once Hightower opted out, that should have been it.
Chris, Dante Hightower, perfect example. In the first half, was it 3rd down or 4th down? They got a little bit of pressure on Allen, and you brought this up. And Allen he tucks the ball under his arm.
Yeah.
And starts moving forward. And a running back slides out. But you can tell Jones is running. He ain't looking at anybody to throw the ball. And Hightower is in this spot to stop it.
It's
follows the running back, and Allen runs for 15 yards. It's recognition, but it's just age. I don't know what it is, Chris. He's just lost it. He's done. And you're like, you understand what he did. But now when the guy tucks the ball under his arm.
Right. Yeah, I mean, again, he tucks the ball. He's not picking it up and throwing the ball in half a yard.
And Chris, why are they playing so far off the line of scrimmage, those linebackers?
They were getting killed. Okay, they were getting killed underneath. It was pretty clear today that Allen, first of all, Mark,
listen, Dayball had a good game plan today, Chris.
Dayball outcoached the entire defensive coaching staff, including Belichick.
Yep.
That was clear. It was obvious.
Yeah.
Guys didn't execute, but Mark, they didn't change anything up. Look, I mean, if you know what you're looking at,
you kept screaming for them to go into dime because the linebackers were getting killed underneath.
They didn't change a damn thing. They were backing off the ball. Those linebackers were pouring out into those high holes, like basically backing off into those zones, and their running backs were popping out of the backfield underneath over and over
and Chris,
and over again.
Explain to our fans. You kept telling me during the broadcast of the game they should go into dime. Explain to them what that is, because that might have helped because the linebackers are so bad.
Yeah, more than 5 defensive backs. Sometimes you put 6 defensive backs out there. But Mark, when I went back and looked at it, and I'm saying that during it, but who? I mean, I'm correcting myself.
Well, that was my thing. That's what I said to you. Who's going out there? Jawan Williams? I don't know if he was active
No,
today.
He was not active. He didn't play today. You had guys you could have brought. Miles Bryant, atrocious.
Chris, Miles Bryant had that one play in Buffalo. Made a play, one play. I don't know how Miles Bryant, if he's getting that much playing time in your secondary, you got a major, major problem because he is horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I mean, they allowed 314 yards. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, and I know we're jumping all over the place right now because it's just such a frustrating thing to watch. When you get outcoached, outplayed, you can't get off the field ever on 4th down after 4th down. And by the way, that's not going to help. That's not going to help guys like you and I who don't like analytics in football.
The analytics, Chris, I mean, it's
over and over 4th down.
It's getting a little too much now in football.
It is. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's like kickers must be all upset by it. But look, the bottom line is, again, the front, I don't think the front played ridiculously bad. I mean, they allowed 114 yards, but 64 of that was to Allen. So they kept the running, but they don't even try to run the ball anyway. So it makes no difference. They're not a running team.
No.
But I didn't think Barmore had a stupid penalty. I mean,
it cost you on a 4th and 7.
Yeah,
all they were trying to do, Chris, all they were trying to do, they're on like the 40 of the Patriots. They were trying to draw the Patriots offside. And if they didn't, they were probably going to take the delay of the game, back up 5, try to pin him inside the 10. There was like, 2 change at that point in the half. That's all they were trying to do, and they were going to punt. The only thing you couldn't do was jump, and Barmore jumps.
That's it.
How was and you mentioned, Chris, you got McCourty and Hightower in the goddamn huddle. Before
I can't imagine
you don't tell everybody, listen, just say sit still. He's going to try to draw us. Come on, 4th and 7. They weren't going for that at the 40-yard line. There's no way they were going for that.
All you got to do is look at the ball. You just look down the line of scrimmage.
Come on.
When the ball moves, you move. I mean,
yep.
It
was awful, Chris.
Again, that's a problem.
Another undisciplined, Chris.
But Mark, the edges again, they've been a consistent problem, okay, for 3 years. Yep. Okay.
And it's still a problem.
Mark, this was shades of 2019 down the stretch. In 2019, when they won like 8 in a row, it was like 8-0, and then they started playing some good teams, and the defense got exposed.
Yep. Well, you're right, and that's what happened today.
And that's what's going on.
Yeah.
The linebackers
and last week they got exposed through the running game, and this week they got exposed again. Don't get me wrong. Last week they could have won. They were in better position. They should have, with some stupid mistakes, they could have won it. However, you're right. The defense is starting to get exposed, Chris.
It is, and in specifically what Mark's saying is the lack of depth in the secondary and the atrocious play at the linebacking core. Look,
Chris, you're not going to tell me. You're going to tell me you couldn't use Stephon Gilmore right now.
Today you could, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But going back to the linebackers, Mark. Look, yes, they're old, they're slow, they can't get lateral. Just can't go. They can't go sideline to sideline. There's nobody on that team that can go sideline to sideline. Hightower overruns plays now because he's so out of position because he can't get up and go anymore.
Chris, you know who was out of position again today several times too? If you go back and watch the tape, was the other guy that you said is kind of done, McCourty.
Again, when they play bad teams, he looks fantastic. Yep. But when they play a good team, he's late.
J.C. Jackson, Chris, really struggled today too.
Horrible. So again, the edges, Van Noy has not been good. And by the way, for all the love we've given him, Judon has been terrible for 2 games now. Judon has been terrible.
Well, he wasn't that good the last game against Buffalo either. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Weather helped them in that game. Obviously, now the weather helped them. But you're right. The last 3 games, he hasn't done much. Barmore really hasn't done much the last 3 games.
Right.
Those guys, Barmore, right? It's almost like he hit that. Everyone mentions that hypothetical, rookie wall. Maybe he hit it because he hasn't done anything in 3 games, 4 games, maybe 3 games.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not even hearing his name called, Chris, except for the dumbass penalty today.
Again, it's not good from the linebacking core. Mark, this is not a team. This is not a team with a good enough linebacking core to face them. I mean, look, for all these people, as everybody get back to reality right now. Come back to reality because this team was exposed today. And Mark and I even were drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, talking about AFC championships matching up with Tampa in the Super Bowl. Okay, can we all now temper this and understand that we played a legitimate playoff team today? So for all the people that say Buffalo's Buffalo, Josh Allen's going to do Josh Allen things, yeah, he may do that against Kansas City. He may do it against a team like Tampa, but against us, we're not good enough. They're just not good enough. Okay, and so again, not good enough in the linebacking call, but Mark, the secondary. I mean.
Yeah, they were just bad all over today, Chris. It was J.C. Jackson. It was Miles Bryant. Jalen Mills was out of position. I mean, it was just everybody was.
J.C. Jackson.
It was a bad. But talk about Jackson. I know
J.C. Jackson got eaten up today. Okay, he got eaten up, and it was. Let's see. Diggs had 7 receptions. Now there were 13 attempts. Jackson wasn't on him all day long.
No.
But the times where it count, the times that it mattered, okay, those 7 receptions for 85 yards and a touchdown, yeah, that was on Jackson. That was on Jackson. So he's 50. Diggs was 50% catching the ball today, which would make you think it was okay, but for him, but it wasn't anything he did. Did you see any pass breakups? I think I saw one. I think I saw one good play by Jackson.
Most of the plays the receivers missed, Chris, was because maybe it was overthrown. They had a couple of drops, right? There might have been one or two balls behind the receiver, but for the most part, you're right, Chris. There was no pass breakups or defense.
And I don't want to listen. I don't want to listen to people all week long. Say, well, Jackson's not getting any. Look, you're a Pro Bowler now, okay? Right? Did he make the Pro Bowl? Didn't he?
He made the Pro Bowl, I think. Yeah,
he made the Pro Bowl, and he followed up getting that announcement with a real crap performance today. Okay, he could have done more to shut that guy down. Now I get it. Diggs gets paid too, man. He's one of the best receivers in the league, or was. So I get it's a tough cover, but you got to show up better than that if you want to get paid.
If you're a true number one, Chris, and you think that you want to get that big money, you got to have a better game than that in a key game against a guy like Diggs. I mean, come on. This game was essentially for the division, Chris. So now Buffalo wins the next two games. They're division champs.
They have Atlanta and the Jets.
They're going to win the next two games.
They're going to win the division. I mean, that's it.
They're going to be division champs. And you're going to, and you better win against Miami the last week of the season, Chris. You'll come in like an 8 seed.
7, yeah.
7,
so
8.
They only have 7. Come on. What are you thinking of basketball and hockey?
That's how disgusted I am. Basketball. Don't even get me started with those goddamn stiffs that you think have talent. We'll get into that next, and then CORSO and CATONE in a couple of weeks. I'm going to give you a little bit of my mind. They got talent. I know.
January 8th, we return. CORSO and CATONE return, 7 p.m. Eastern.
You notice I gave that little
cheap
plug
there. Joe.
Little plug.
Shameless self-promotion. Nothing wrong with that.
We'll take it. But yeah, the secondary, Miles Bryant.
Chris, Miles Bryant, like I said, he made that play a couple of weeks ago in Buffalo. Right? He did. He made that one play. But Chris, he's like a special teamer. He's a fringe roster guy. Like maybe he makes your team if you're, maybe as a special teamer. I mean, maybe out of desperation, he's going to play a little bit, but he's getting a lot of playing time, Chris.
Why?
So that's a problem.
Explain to me why.
How? I don't know.
Why is Wade inactive every single week?
I don't know.
Well, you traded for this guy. He was a first.
You mean to tell me Wade can't give you? At the very least, Chris, he'll give you more athleticism than Bryant.
You got Wade. Forget Juwan Williams. He stinks. He's worse. Actually, you know what? I don't think anybody played worse than Miles Bryant played today. That dude.
No, they didn't.
Okay, so you got Wade that they got on the shelf. You got who's the other guy? Jonathan Jones. Wasn't he made active?
I thought Jonathan Jones was active because I don't think he was on the field today, was he?
Didn't they take him off IR?
I thought they took him off IR. I thought they added him to the roster.
So again, they got
the other kid, Chris, they activated that can play safety. I think he could play a little bit of slot. The kid that was hurt all year, the rookie Bledsoe.
Yeah, he was inactive today too. And
somebody's going to give you more than Bryant.
And you know what? Miles Bryant, okay, that dude needed a lifesaver today. He needed a lifesaver. And that they hung, and I don't know now the coaching staff, they friggin' hung that kid out to dry. Maybe I should wait till coach's corner on the other side of this. Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
But you know what?
No, that kid got hung out to dry.
That kid was that kid needed a lifesaver today, and he didn't get it. Okay, he didn't get it from anybody. And because when we get to coach's corner, I'm going to talk about some of the things I saw on defense and what they didn't do to adjust. I've never seen a Patriots team do nothing to adjust on defense. Very, very little to nothing. And we're going to illustrate that right on the other side with Coach's Corner right after this.
It's that time again for a timeout from Pat's Nation for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket, or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. Corso Law Group. Now back to Pat's Nation.
Final score in this game, 33-21. The Patriots drop to the Buffalo Bills and get knocked out of the lead spot in the AFC East, dropped all the way down to the number 6 spot. Mark, listen, before we get to Coach's Corner, I mean, for everyone that doesn't understand out there, I don't think there's a threat of New England not making the playoffs, simply because for them not to make the playoffs, the Raiders would have to win out, and they stink. They're atrocious. So we'd have to lose the last 2. They'd have to win all 3.
Well, you got to figure, Chris, even as bad as we look today, you got to, and we didn't play well against Indy either. You got to figure we can beat Jacksonville next week.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something. See Jacksonville coming in, I guess, because we got our faces kicked in today. They'll have they'll be a little more. I don't see it a trap game now. If they had won today,
they had won today. Yeah. Next week they'll be motivated, Chris, because they played like shit today.
But that team's got nothing to lose in Jacksonville.
No, and I think Jacksonville's a happy bunch now that they got rid of Maya.
Man,
so they're happy down there now.
I don't know where the brain trust was bringing that guy in.
I don't know.
But yeah, we got to get to Coach's Corner because there's a lot to talk about there. So let's get to it, Joe.
Coach's Corner.
You got bad defensive coaching. You got some bad play calling. Linebacker coaching atrocious. Mark, pick one and go to it.
Well, I'm going to go, Chris, with I'm going to leave the defense up to you. I think offensively, Chris, I don't think they had a good game plan. I mean, you had to figure, Chris. I mean, if after what you did Monday night, you mean to tell me you didn't realize they were going to stack that box like they did? You couldn't come up with a better game plan to try to utilize perhaps Henry, Jonnu Smith, Bourne, do some different things, some creative things to try to get them the ball. I mean, you knew they were taking that away from you today, and they did. And then, like you said, Chris, bring J.J. Taylor in. Utilize the outside of the field with a running back that can get there with his speed. I think offensively, Chris, I think he had a horrible game today, McDaniels. I don't think McDaniels had a good game at all. I think the game plan was poor. I don't think they were ready for what. I mean, how did you not know what the Bills were going to throw at you? And that's and the offensive line, to your point, Chris. But I mean, the offensive line coaches, the coaching of the offensive line has been bad all year. But on the offensive side,
talk about discipline, Mark.
The discipline, Chris, is first of all, how do they not address that, Chris, somehow in practice? At week 16, you're still allowing holding penalties, offside penalties, all in key situations, by the way. Breakdowns in identification of where the pressure's coming from, where the blitz is coming from. How you can't read that and understand that as an offensive line group at this point in week 16, Chris, is almost unfathomable with Belichick as your coach, and you can't pick that up.
Pre-snap, post-snap penalties.
That's what I'm saying.
Post possession where you're getting personal fouls.
But Chris, I thought it was a bad day for McDaniels today because I just don't think he came in with a game. I mean, you didn't. You and I knew that was going to be their game plan on defense. How did he not? Okay, he didn't play. His game plan initially didn't adjust. He didn't have a game plan to work with that. But you don't adjust. Like you said, there was no adjustments, Chris. You don't adjust what you're doing offensively when you saw what they were doing, and Buffalo didn't get out of it. They did it the entire game.
They're short yardage, Mark. The Patriots short yardage.
Short yardage is awful, Chris, on this team.
They're running draws with Bolden that just he doesn't have enough juice. You know what I mean? And you could say, well, Stevenson was out, but that
I get Stevenson.
But they were doing that with him there.
Yeah, you're right. They have, Chris. You're right. So I'm going to go on the offensive side of the ball, Chris. I thought McDaniels had a bad game, my opinion. Game plan, strategy, adjustments. I just think offensively, Chris, Jones did not have a good game. We already said we gave him a D for the game. However, the game plan, Chris, I give McDaniels an F or a D too.
Well, they didn't get Hunter Henry involved till late in the game.
And what you can't figure out how to get Jonnu Smith involved? You gave the guy $50 million, Chris.
That's the biggest bust. That's the biggest bust.
Supposedly the kid's an athlete. So you mean to tell me if a kid's that much of an athlete as a tight end, you can't figure out a way to get him mismatches? Look at what Atlanta does with that kid down there, Chris. The rookie. Don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing him to Kyle Pitts. However, Pitts is a physical freak at the tight end position. Smith has some of those attributes. So why can't you utilize him?
Mark, listen, and as bad as that was, okay, nothing was worse today than what went on the other side of the ball.
No, that's why I'm going to leave that to you.
And just generally overall coaching in this one, Mark, the overall coaching, the lack of discipline, and you know what I noticed at the end, even though it was garbage time, it was a drive, they quit. That team quit in that last drive.
Chris, that's a real good point. That's a real good point. You brought that up because you know what? I was thinking the same thing. They quit.
Now with the defense, okay, I'm going to try to do this without screaming. Okay, it's the holiday season, so they did nothing to adjust, Mark, to what was going on in that field. Okay, Miles Bryant, I said he needed a lifesaver today, and Belichick wouldn't give him one. You know, okay, so he was playing in the slot, and you had Mills playing on the outside.
Which, Chris, to your point, though, too, Chris, is supposedly that's what that kid weighed while you traded for him.
Right. And by the way, does anybody here, Joe, Mark, you guys know who McKenzie? I mean, I've heard the name, but even the announcers, even the full announcers for CBS was saying, yeah, McKenzie's never had a game like this. He's not used all that much. Dude, 11 catches for 125 yards and one touchdown on 12 attempts.
Chris, he looked like a Pro Bowler.
Are you kidding me right now? Miles Bryant could not keep with that guy when those crossers. And here's the problem that I had with it. At some point, you got to take him out of the slot. I don't care if you put him on the edge. I don't care if you put him as a boundary corner for a few minutes, for a few plays, and pull Mills into the slot. Because you've got to give him some help. You've got to do something. That
Chris,
kid had
you know what? As I was watching it, you know where they should have put Bryant today?
Yeah, at home.
Yeah, on the bench in front of the heater.
Right.
That's where he should have been.
But again, you know, you don't have much on the bench. You're going to have to work with what you got on the field. You need to switch them things around. And Mark, they didn't help him in the pass rush either because those crossers take a while.
Chris, can I ask you a question? Why in every key situation today where you needed to stop, you rushed 3 guys? You didn't adjust to that either, Chris?
Right, and every single time they brought pressure, Josh Allen did what you said. They sped him up, and he threw offline a little bit, behind guys just a little bit, and that's what happened. You're rushing 3 guys. You're rushing 3 guys trying to contain him, in the pocket. It isn't like you're spying
because
him
Chris,
with
because you know why, Chris, we have so much speed that can at the next level, the linebacker that can get sideline to sideline.
Yeah,
so
right.
you can do that, right?
So okay, so the defensive game plans, whatever it was today, it sucked. And you know, New England was always prided themselves on making adjustments and saying we're not going to be one of those teams that says we do what we do, go ahead and stop it. That's not New England. They're a game plan team and they're an adjustment set team. They didn't see any of that today with the pass rush, Mark. Things were coming open. Listen, anytime they brought edge pressure, Allen threw to the spot. He just threw to where the pressure was coming. It was simple. It was simple for Allen today. And maybe that's why he didn't look like Allen all that much. But
you know what, Chris? It was simple today.
They didn't bring safety blitzes. They didn't bring Duggar on anything. They didn't bring
Chris,
McCourty
you know what
down.
today looked like
They didn't
to
do
me?
anything like
Chris,
that.
They went back to, and you're going to hate this, they went back to the Matt Patricia playbook of defense.
Yeah, the bend don't break.
Those were the things Patricia would do, Chris. There would be nothing exotic, nothing different. He would stay in these set bases. That's what Patricia used to do.
Right.
The last 4 or 5, 6 weeks leading up to the last couple of weeks, Chris, they weren't doing that. They were doing some good stuff on defense.
Yeah, except back then, they were getting turnovers in the red zone. They were 3 points. They were allowing touchdowns. That's the problem. So the bend don't break crap, they broke. That was it. Yeah. You got the bend and you got the break. So you know what? The game plan sucked, and they didn't make any adjustments. They didn't get out of it. They didn't bring secondary pressure, from the edges. They didn't disguise the coverage at all today. They didn't run twists. They didn't run stunts. They didn't do anything to disrupt this, Allen. They didn't do any of that. They didn't help their linebackers out at all. Duggar, their tackling, the last thing I'll say, their tackling was atrocious, Mark. Once again, who the hell was it? Duggar in the first quarter. Singletary caught a pass on the sideline for 2 yards. He went and tackled him up high and got dragged. He got dragged for the first down. Why aren't you hitting that guy in the legs? Why aren't you wrapping him up? And anytime a guy did it, they get great praise. Wow, what a tackle. Holy crap. Like a 14-year-olds that tackle better than that. You know what? It's a league-wide problem. But, yeah, they got out coached. Daboll took them to school. Belichick, the other Belichick, Mayo. We were talking about him possibly being a head coach someday. Nah. No, I don't see that. Do you?
No, if he's going to be a head coach, Chris, he's a long way from being that. I mean,
so you think you're going to play in the playoffs? They're not good enough to just do what we do and that's it. They have to have game plans and schemes.
Well, Chris, teams have adjusted to their offense now, though, too. Like, okay, right. So you got the best 1-2 combination of running backs when Stevenson comes back from being on the COVID list. Yeah. But teams know that, Chris. So now they're game planning for that. So now you've got to adjust and do something else, but you don't have the skilled position players to do it on the offensive side of the ball. But at least make the attempt. My problem today was, Chris, it wasn't even like McDaniels made the attempt. Like you said, Chris, here's what we do, and we're going to do it, and we're not going to adjust. He didn't do anything to try to fix it today.
So when he says in his post game, we didn't coach well enough, he means it today. Coach's Corner was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. So, Mark, let's get into our Sunday stiff. We're running out of time. So let's get right to it, Joe. Since it's Christmas, go ahead, Mr. Catone.
My Sunday stiff is Miles Bryant. That's without question. It's Miles Bryant. And it could have been somebody else, but I'm going to call Miles Bryant because there was a few bad guys out there on defense today. Miles Bryant, Chris, I mean, I'm not going to reiterate it. We talked about
go
it
ahead.
already.
I mean, you got 30 seconds.
Chris, he was out of position. He was trailing guys. He didn't know what he was supposed to be doing on those crossing routes. It wasn't even, Chris, that he got beat. It was almost like he didn't know what he was supposed to be doing. Like position-wise, it was like he was lost, Chris.
He was beaten and broken. You saw his face. He was shaking his head. He needed help.
He didn't know what to do. Yeah.
He needed help.
He's my Sunday stiff today. He's my Sunday stiff today, Chris.
I had so many different ones to choose from today. You know, I had, honestly, Hightower was one for a while, Van Noy, but I'm telling you, nobody else will probably agree. I got to give it to J.C. Jackson. Okay, I hated the way he played today.
Chris, I agree with that.
I hated the way he played today. He played with his head down. Mark, did you see the missed tackle on the fourth down? He had Allen. It was a designed, fake handoff, and Allen went out the backside to get that fourth down at the end. J.C. First of all. Who was the linebacker? I think Judon. Somebody was moving towards him. J.C. Jackson comes flying in. Mark, his head was like this. His head wasn't even looking at where he wanted to tackle. And then he ended up hitting his own guy. Sunday stiff, J.C. Jackson. He was atrocious today.
Chris, he was high up on my list too. It was a toss-up between him and Bryant, but I went with Bryant because he looked so bad.
You want to make money? You want to make the money you think you should be making, like Ramsey and these guys out there?
No.
Hey, you better have a better game than this, and you better intercept that ball and take it to the house. Then all is forgiven. But the tackling sucked for him. His Diggs ate him up. He ate him up today. Had his lunch for him.
Guys like Ty Law used to intercept that pass
and take it in. Yep.
And, you know what I mean? So. Just for the record.
McCourty would have ran the route for not McCourty. Gilmore would have ran the route for him and taken it right in.
Gilmore would have ran the route for him, and let's not even talk about Revis Island. The one year he played with us, he would have intercepted that ball too, Revis Island.
Yeah. Guys, secondary guys that the guy that plays for the Giants now.
You have to make that play, Chris. You have to make that play as a number one corner. You're not, like you said, you're a number one corner. You want to compare yourself to Jalen Ramsey. You have to make that play.
Ellis Hobbs could have made that play.
Okay.
Ellis Hobbs could have made that play.
Listen, a little. Now you're getting a little out of hand. Now don't get too excited. Don't bring up Ellis Hobbs because he got beat in 07. That's why you brought up Ellis Hobbs.
That wasn't Hobbs. That was Samuel. That was Asante Samuel.
No, Hobbs got beat for the touchdown. Hobbs got beat for the touchdown.
Yeah, he did, but Plaxico burst. But we're talking about that interception.
Don't get me started.
That interception on the sideline where Asante Samuel had to go right through his hands. That's driven you crazy for friggin' however many years it's been. 14 years, whatever it is. So
14.
Our Sunday Stiff was presented by Jag Media Productions. So, Mark, before we get to some people to thank, hey, final word on this one, man.
Final word. Disgusting.
Bye division.
Bye division. Bye good seed. Right? You're going to be a 7
bye
seed.
The number 1 seed.
Hey, forget it. You'll be probably a 7 seed, Chris, which means you're probably going to you're not going to open up against Kansas City. Guess what? You could be seeing Buffalo again at Buffalo.
Over there. Oh, and they got a hair across their ass too for us.
How about that?
They came
the fish will have to come back on.
Yeah, they came into our stadium today full of piss and vinegar, man.
Yeah.
And you know something? This is the second year in a row, Mark. This is the second year in a row where you had a fan base take out a stupid billboard on your street. Okay?
What's
and
that
then
about?
come in and
what
then come in. Yeah, and then come in and do it to you.
Chris, listen. How is it? And I didn't mention this all show, but I know we're running short.
So hey,
time.
good for you, Buffalo Bills fan. Nation, Bills
Chris,
Mafia, whatever they call it.
How do you lose 5 games at home and want to be a playoff team? You lost 5 games at home.
And a place where you remember it was like so many in a row where you won at home.
You're unbeatable.
In December,
yeah.
They would never lost in December.
They would have never lost in December at home. But
never. They had a couple of hiccups with Miami and the Jets at the end of the season a couple of times, but nah, never would happen.
Part, Chris, nobody wanted to come here this time of the year.
So Mark's disgusted. I'm disgusted. Joe didn't even get in his comment about how disgusted he is, right, Joe?
I just shut the microphone off. Can't take it. Can't even take it. And now it's like, here's the thing. I had the shirt on. What do I do now? I gotta wash it? Does it come? What do you do in those traditions and those superstitions?
Yeah. Rip it up,
burn it. What do I
burn it? Take it in the backyard, rip it up. Did you get it? Would you just get it yesterday?
No, it's the one I've had. Every time I put it on, they win.
Well, I'm telling you, put a real damper on Christmas. I'm telling you, you know, thank God for my children. So some people to thank tonight. We want to thank the good people at Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance, and Drive Yourself to Success. SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Jag Media Productions, also the good people over at Studio 42 Designs for all your graphic design needs. Studio42designs.com. And Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CorsoLawGroups.com. Allow us to be your voice. I think I need to hire myself today because I was ready to start vandalizing my own home.
Chris, maybe now that you should have, you know what you should have did? You should have took your frustrations out on Tommy.
I'm going to
take. You should have did.
Please, they protect Tommy like, you know what? They'll throw me out in the street before they let anything bad happen to Tommy. Tommy's our snowman that makes all kinds of noise every time you walk by. It makes me fall down the stairs at 4 a.m. Patriots are going to host the Jaguars next Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Our post-game coverage will be 30 minutes following that game. Mark and I have all your breakdown, including MAC-MANIA, Sunday Stiff, Coach's Corner. I'm sure Mark will be hopefully not screaming and yelling like crazy, but you know what we'll be saying, Mark, next year? We'll be next week. We'll be saying, well, it's the Jaguars. We should have kicked their ass. I mean, what's the difference, right?
Hey, listen, Chris, I thought we were good today. We didn't get too excited.
Well, by the way, just so you know, and all Patriots fans out there know, Pittsburgh's getting their face kicked in 23-0. So any thought you had about Kelsey being out in their COVID situation and maybe we'd get the number 1 spot, blah, blah, blah. Get back to reality, everyone. Get back to reality. Make sure you tune in to Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. Saturdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. We will be back January 8th. We're giving Mark the opportunity to have a nice New Year's and a calm, quiet day. As you can see,
I need it.
He needs it badly, among other things. So make sure you tune in, Corso and Catone. So for Mark Catone, Joe Guarnieri, I'm Chris Corso. Final score in this one, Bills 33, Patriots 21. So long, everyone.